Hello everybody and welcome to Storytime with Auntie Vina. Today we have a special one and this is a little clue as to what we're talking about today. It's Sickle Cell Awareness Day and our book is Little George and the Dragon and it's produced by the Alder Hey Children's NHS Foundation Trust. Do you know what sickle cell is? Well, I think our little book here is going to give us some learning about what the condition is and how you look after it. So, have you got a drink? Have you got a snack? Are you comfortable? Then let's go. Little George and the Dragon. When a great big dragon landed in the middle of Waggle Avenue, most people were quite annoyed. "No dragons allowed," shouted the man living at number 7. "You can't park there," shouted the woman living at number 11, who tried to fight the dragon with her handbag. The dragon gave a huge growl, then lay down in the middle of Waggle Avenue between a taxi and an ice cream van. He breathed out smoky flames and set fire to everyone's trousers. Look at the size of our dragon. And look at this lady's little handbag and she's going to try and fight this big dragon. Do you think that's going to work? I don't know. "Will you stop fussing, please?" said the dragon. "Get me some food now or I shall eat you all and set your houses on fire." "You can't do that," shouted the woman living at number 11. "That's evil and wrong. And I've just decorated the kitchen." When the dragon ate the woman's handbag, most grown-ups said things like, "Oh, right. I suppose we should see what we've got in the fridge." So they're quite scared of the dragon, and the dragon seems to be a bit scary. Would you be scared of the dragon? I think I'd be a bit shocked. At number 4, Waggle Avenue, Little George was watching all this from his bedroom. Little George was sticking out his tongue and pulling faces. This wasn't because he was being rude to the dragon. It was because he had just taken his medicine that he had to take for his sickle cell. "That tasted yucky," said Little George, but he knew that the medicine was doing him good. He took a medicine called penicillin to keep nasty infections away, and a vitamin called folic acid to help his body produce red blood cells. Look at his face. You pull a face at me. Stick out your tongue. What does your face look like when you have something yucky that you have to eat? Did you see my face earlier? As he looked down at the dragon, Little George stood tall and tried to look brave and tough, even in his pajamas. Do you think he looks brave and tough? He looks like he's trying. Outside, a few grown-ups were trying to fight the dragon, but the dragon kept on growling, setting fire to people's trousers and demanding more food. The dragon had pains and was feeling very cross and scared. He wanted the pains to go away, but didn't know how to make them. Everyone was looking very worried now. Food was running out, and there was a shortage of decent trousers. When Little George stepped outside, standing tall and brave in his pajamas, the neighbours weren't impressed. Neither was the dragon. "A small child in pajamas can't fight a dragon," said the dragon. "That's even sillier than hitting a dragon with a handbag," said the woman who had been hitting the dragon with her handbag. "And this child has sickle cell," said the man living at number 11. "How can he deal with a dragon?" Well, let's see how he could deal with the dragon, shall we? Little George gave the grown-ups a hard stare. Having sickle cell has taught me a few lessons, said little George. Just like this dragon, sickle cell can be frightening. Just like this dragon, sickle cell can be painful. It can also be very annoying. Who are you calling annoying? Said the dragon, who growled, then fell asleep on top of the ice cream van and crushed it. Little George said, I have learned how to live with sickle cell. I have learned how to deal with it. That's why I can deal with this dragon. Now, do you think the person who owns the ice cream van might be a bit annoyed that the dragon who said he's not annoying fell asleep on his ice cream van and crushed it? I think he might be a bit annoyed. As the dragon lay sleeping on top of the crushed ice cream van, little George went on talking to his neighbours. Thankfully, his mum had a hidden supply of biscuits, so everyone cheered up. Little George said, when my mum found out about my sickle cell, she was very frightened. All my family were frightened, but we learnt how to manage my sickle cell. Little George explained that all people have lots of red tiny cells in their blood. He told his neighbours that most red blood cells are circular, like round discs. A bit like this biscuit, said little George, only much, much smaller. He picked up another round biscuit, then gently tapped the two biscuits together. Round blood cells, he said, can easily flow through blood vessels together, transporting oxygen to muscles and tissues so that they can work. So can you see the round biscuits? Just like your round blood cells. Little George then took a bite out of each biscuit, then held them up again. He explained that if you have sickle cell, your red blood cells change to a different shape if they don't have enough oxygen in them. A bit like this biscuit after I've taken a bite out of it, said little George, only much, much smaller. As his neighbours took a bite from their biscuits, little George said, sickle red blood cells don't flow together as easily as round blood cells because of their shape. This stops the oxygen getting to muscles and tissues and causes me to have pains in different parts of my body. This is called a sickle cell crisis. There are lots of things that can cause your body not to have enough oxygen in it and trigger a crisis. Things such as not having enough to drink, getting cold, infections, and getting too tired. Now, can you see where this special t-shirt comes from? Yes, it's the shape of a sickle or a biscuit that's had a bite taken out of it. And this is the shape of a sickle-celled red blood cell. So as you can see, it's not round, so it can bubble around and bounce from blood cell to blood cell. It's got a little hole in it. So if you've got two of them, they could get stuck, can't they? As they're floating around and then have little battles that cause pain in different parts of your body. So there you can see it in the biscuit shape. And here you can see it on my special t-shirt. Little George looked at the sleeping dragon. Let's deal with this dragon in the same way I deal with my sickle cell. Let's not fight it. This sounds like George is going to share some wisdom. If they're not going to fight it, how are they going to deal with it? When the dragon woke up, little George gave the dragon healthier food and a big drink of water served in someone's bath. This might make you feel less grumpy, little George said to the waking dragon. I always have plenty to drink because it gives my body a good amount of fluid and makes my red blood cells less sticky. The dragon had the drink, trying not to eat the bath. I also have to make sure that I keep myself warm, said little George. Keeping warm means that my blood vessels don't become too narrow and cause my sickle cells to get stuck. Pain can make you sad and grumpy, said little George. If you take the right pain medicine, you might feel a little less sad and less grumpy. When I have pains, my mummy gives paracetamol and ibuprofen regularly to make me feel better. We dragons do get lots of annoying pains. That's why we tend to growl a lot. If you still get pains after those medicines, then some codeine can help, added little George. If the pains get really bad, my mum has to take me to the hospital. Sometimes the doctor tells me that I have to stay in hospital so that they can make me feel better. They give me some special medicine to take away the pain and a drink through a drip to give me plenty of fluid. Lots of water, lots of healthy fruit. I think this is a good diet for everybody. We should all drink lots of water, but very much so if you have sickle cell. I often see a doctor, little George told the dragon. I see lots of experts and specialists. That way I get the right medication. They also support me and my family through good times and tough times. Little George spent a lot of time talking to the dragon, feeding him the right food and giving him plenty to drink. Eventually, the dragon agreed to see a special dragon doctor and stop setting fire to everyone's trousers. Oh, and there's one more thing that can make you feel better, said little George with a wide smile. Fun! Playing games and jumping and throwing and catching. That can make you feel better too. I'll give it a try, smiled the dragon. So, you eat really good healthy food, you drink lots and lots of lovely healthy water, and you play. It sounds like a good way to look after yourself. As little George and the dragon started playing, the man living at number 7 watched. That dragon is still very scary, he said, ducking to dodge its tail. And he's still very annoying, said the woman at number 11. But I think we can learn to live with him. Just like I learnt to live with my sickle cell, said little George, patting the dragon. The man at number 7 nodded. The woman at number 11 decided it was safe to at last go and buy a new handbag. Well, George and the dragon both look quite well, so we're happy about that. Little George and the dragon smiled. Then they gave each other a great big dragon-sized hug. Oh, I want a dragon-sized hug. Why don't you give whoever's nearby a nice big dragon-sized hug? Because hugs make everybody feel better. That was a fantastic story about sickle cell. And this t-shirt has a symbol on it, and this is the sickle cell symbol. So when you see a crescent, and that's the shape this is, it's a crescent, then sometimes it is to help people to remember all about sickle cell and how we can support each other and look after each other and find out about how to look after those who have sickle cell and aren't feeling so great. So thank you very much for today's story, Little George and the Dragon. We liked that. And thank you for joining me for today's Storytime with Auntie Vina, celebrating Sickle Cell Day. And next month in the UK is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and I might have a little surprise for you. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I can't wait to see you at the next Storytime with Auntie Vina. To find out more information about sickle cell and how to connect with me more, check the description box, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so that you find out as soon as a new story comes out. I really look forward to seeing you on the next Storytime with Auntie Vina. Find out a bit more about sickle cell, and I can't wait to see you till next time. Bye.